On today, we're gathering today with the purposes of acknowledging the events that took place on last night. Last night, a 1-year-old by the name of Londyn Samuel lost her life, and in addition to that, Victoria Thomas was a victim. They both were a victim of senseless gun violence. And we gather here today to show support to the families. We also gather here today to just educate the community on the effects that these senseless crimes have on our community. Within the past year and a half, we lost four of our young ones. Last night made the 4th event. We lost 4 of our young ones to senseless crime. As a community, we as a people need to learn. We have to learn to stand together as a community to combat these problems. Violence is something that we consider as a disease. In order to cure a disease, we have to come together. We really have to come together, mobilize the community, and definitely do our part in making those things happen. With that being said, I'm going to turn the microphone over to our Mayor, Mitch Landrieu.
Amen.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming out tonight. We are in a bad way. There has been a culture that has developed that is like a public health threat that has got to stop.
Yes.
And the reason why we know it can stop is because it has not always been this way. This is not who we are as a people. I grew up in this neighborhood. We used to walk the streets. We used to get at it a little bit, but we didn't have the kind of danger that we have today. And we came here today to make a stand. There's a song that says, "What do you do when you've given your all and it seems like it's never enough?" Sometimes you just stand. This young man's baby was taken from us. He's a wonderful young man. I want y'all to pray for him. I want y'all to keep him in your thoughts, in your prayers. A young man who's doing the right thing.
Yeah, we will.
Victoria was taken from us, and her family's with us today. You can't ever replace that. Parents are not supposed to bury their children, and we have 2 instances of that today. In this neighborhood, in 1994, little bitty James Darby was taken from us on Mother's Day. We lost 3 lives that day because Joseph Norfleet, who shot him, and his little brother Michael went to jail, and they're still there for the rest of their lives. It's senseless. It's a drumbeat of death that has taken the precious from us, and James wasn't the first and he wasn't the last. You know the story. A couple weeks before he was taken from us, he wrote a letter to President Clinton and said, "I don't feel safe in my neighborhood." And his neighborhood is where we're standing, on the ground. This is the ground, sacred soil. And then just in our short span of being around, Kiera Holmes was taken from us. 2 years old, in the front of her house. And Jeremy Gammon was in his grandma's arms when the second line was marching down the street. And he just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time and caught a bullet that was intended for somebody else. Brianna Allen, 5 years old, on her porch celebrating her cousin's birthday, who a year and a half later, on Mother's Day, got shot for the second time in his life before he was 11 years old. Have mercy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so we came here tonight as a community, as we have done since we started NOLA for Life and Ceasefire. And I thank all of our brothers and sisters that are in Ceasefire who are all from the community to stand and to be in communion with the families who lost their loved ones and to mourn their lives and to celebrate their gift, but also to send a message that this is where we live. This is not where we're supposed to die. This is where we live, and we want our streets back. We want our streets back, and we demand of ourselves a higher way of being. And the only way it's going to change is if everybody on this street recommits themselves to creating a city of peace. Because when you don't do that, you will lose something so precious that you can't have the kind of life that God ever intended you to have. And it is about all of us. It's about the mayor being better. It's about the city council being better. It's about the president being better. It's about Congress being better. But guess what? Michael Jackson had the song, it's about the man in the mirror. And it's about all of us asking ourselves, what can we do? Or what have we done to create an environment where this gets to be okay? Where you just walk up on somebody and shoot them. It's hard enough to hear about our young men shooting each other. But what would it take for somebody to walk up to a beautiful young girl that's holding a baby and do that? So we come here tonight to be in solidarity with each other. Everybody standing here belongs to each other. Everybody is connected. And what one of us does, somebody else does. If we utter a word of hate, it ripples forth through all of us. If we utter a word of love, it ripples forth through all of us. We have the power as individuals with the grace and the strength of God to change what it is that we have. And we pray that He gives us the strength, and He gives His daddy the strength, and He gives this family the strength to go through the pain that they're going to go through. But that's not really where we want to be. We don't want to be here. We want to be on the playground. We want to be in the schoolhouse. We want to be on the stage graduating. We want to be doing the kind of things that we need to do. And we can't do that if we don't feel free. And we can't be free if we don't feel safe. And we can't be safe if we don't care for each other. And part of it is making sure there are consequences for folks that do the bad thing. Because where there are no consequences, you just keep on doing what you're going to do. And all of us need to be formed in the right way. One of the things that's going to change is when the people do bad things, they know that they will face consequences and face justice. And we in the community have to make sure that happens. Because if we don't do that, they will have their way with us. People make mistakes. People can be turned around. You can turn tragedy to triumph. You can turn death into resurrection. You can turn bad to good. That's right. Tell them, you got to teach them.
That's right.
You got to be, there's a song that says you got to be taught.
Right.
You got to be taught to hate and fear. You got to be taught from year to year. It's got to be drummed in your dear little ear. You got to be carefully taught. And if you can teach them hate, and you can teach bad, and you can teach wrong, you can teach love, and you can teach right. That's what we need to be about. And we have got ourselves, all of us, everybody here, has got ourselves in a position where we're producing a culture where it's okay to take a life over nothing. And we're here to take a stand to say the city of New Orleans is not about that. We are above that as a people in the city of New Orleans, and we are above that as a nation. I spoke this to President Obama when we were there, that we have to find a way to stem the culture of violence on our streets if the people of America are ever going to have a chance. And we as a people have to recommit ourselves to that. And when we celebrated the 50th anniversary of Dr. King's speech, and we had a chance to talk to John Lewis some time ago, he said that he did not get beat so that people could kill themselves on the streets of America. That's not what that was about. And so tonight, this is just an opportunity for all of us to come together. And I thank y'all for letting me be the one to speak. But we're here together to say we're going to stand against this. We're going to pray against it. We're going to stand against it. We're going to work against it. We're going to say that it's unacceptable. And we're going to recommit ourselves to making sure that we make this a better place for all of us to live. So I want to thank all of you for coming. Again, I want y'all to just reach up and have this young man and his baby and the mama and Victoria's family in your heart and in your mind, and watch after them, but recommit yourselves to making sure that this sacred space stays exactly what it is, so these little boys and girls can walk on this street whenever they want and not be afraid that something bad's going to happen to them. That's our job as adults, to make sure we lay that down for them, and we're going to make that happen. So God bless you all, and thank you very much.